So let's start off first about financing your equipment when you have to purchase a LiveScan equipment itself. There's different ways of financing or paying for it. Right off the back, it's the cash. So we got some folks right here that talked about the pros and cons of paying cash for your LiveScan equipment. Then we go from there. So guys, jump in any time. If I was to purchase this machine right here, a LiveScan device, and it might cost me $6,000 or $7,000, and I got $8,000 in my account, should I go ahead and spend most of that money to purchase this machine? What do you guys think?
You wanna go first, Maoumba?
It depends how you purchase it.
True.
If it's a credit card, if it's a reward credit card and give you points, go ahead. As long as you know you can
I
pay
got,
with.
how about cash? If I got $8,000 in my account and this machine costs me $7,000 to get this started and set up, the package,
Mhm.
warranty, and everything else, should I go ahead and spend that right away to start a fingerprint business with this?
It I will say it depends.
On what
You
factor?
could purchase the machine and I'll say if you already set up, do the in-car fingerprinting, you already have the money flowing because if you purchase cash, you don't have any customer for the machine, you're not gonna get the money back coming to you right now, right away, versus having an
True.
in-card. So it depends on the situation. If you're financially stable, then I would say go ahead. If you have, saving money, credit card, line of credit high, yes. Other kids don't do it. Don't.
Understood. So pretty much don't spend all my cash right away unless I got some other cash coming in to
Yes.
supplement that to get me started then.
Okay. Now,
Okay
I'm
then.
gonna,
Yeah.
no, no. You know, when you're running a business, first business 101 school, learn to use other people's money.
Credit card.
OPM.
Credit card.
RPM, use other people's money.
Yep.
There's so
Okay.
many credit cards with giving you 5% cash back on every
Hmm.
purchase, 3% cash back on every purchase. Not only that, you are starting a business, you need to establish credit history.
Business.
Cash does not, cash does not give you credit history. Cash gives you a transaction. That's
True.
it. It's the same way. I tell people all the time, well, I mean, don't use your debit card to buy nothing.
Use your
Don't
credit
use
card.
your money. Use your credit card.
Why not a debit card? What's the difference?
Debit card, you're using your money. They're not giving me anything for using my debit card. If I use your credit card, you're gonna give me 3% for every gallon of gas I buy. If I use my debit card, I'm gonna use my money and get 0% for every gallon of gas I buy. I take in the same money that I'm gonna pay for the gas. I just hold it to the end of the month and pay my credit card bill with it, so that way that I'm gonna get points, pay your bill, establish credit, a line of credit, the credit. So when I need a credit increase, the credit card gonna say, well, wow, he got good credit history. He pays his bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
It'll give you a credit increase.
Okay. I don't have a credit card. All I got is a debit card.
Then you need to go and apply for a
Okay.
credit
Good
card.
point.
I like
That is
that.
true. It's a good point.
You go and apply, because if you got a debit card, that means you're tied to a bank. Every bank facility in the U.S., if they give you a debit card, you can apply for one of their credit cards. It may not be, and the main thing you gotta look at when you're applying for a credit card is 3 letters, APR. What is the annual percentage rate they're gonna charge you for using their credit card? What are they gonna give you for their credit card? $6,000, them a lot of points.
That's a lot of points.
You can take that and you can divide that and say, well, okay, I can take this credit card here, put $6,000 on it. I still got my $6,000 in the bank. If I want to pay it off in 45 days, I can pay it off in 45 days. If I want to pay it off in a year, I can pay it off in a year. Because
Okay.
most credit cards don't charge you no interest for the first 12 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Use
So
other people's
why
money.
not a? Why can't I use a debit card though? If I don't have a credit card, my credit score is at 400. I can't get a credit card.
It'll be at 400 because It's gonna be there because even if you use a debit card, it's not going to improve your credit score. Debit transaction does not interfere with, does not help or increase or decrease your credit score. It's just
Okay.
a cash transaction. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, but I might have someone else might have a different opinion about that though. So right now we have some
Hi.
pros and cons. How you
Hey.
doing? We got Letha here. We got you very close to the screen there at the change the
Oh, okay,
settings.
hold on.
All right, okay, because she's like, hey,
Cause I'm messing with my phone.
that's okay.
I'm not on my computer.
It's Travis' fault. We gonna
Ah,
blame Travis today. It's Travis. He's not here right now. He might just told her I'm being the line also.
Yeah.
But pretty much what you're saying is right. It makes sense there. You have to make sure that you get the right things going on before you do any type of business transaction. If you got if you got $8,000 in your bank and this machine's gonna cost you $7,000, you might want to consider some other way of financing that equipment. And like Carey said, if you don't have a credit card now's the point you might want to go ahead and apply it anyway. You might not get the best percentage, might get the highest. You might not get $1 million on your credit line the same day, but start someplace, but just don't wait, which is pretty good. All right, then.
am
What
I
about?
back?
Yes, ma'am. You're right here. We see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we got you here. So what if I want to buy a LiveScan device and they offer me third-party financing to get it? What should I take in consideration? Where I could do something like equipment leasing? What do you guys think about that? And the machine might cost $7,000 a machine, but what the other upgrades I could do this, and this down the line, but maybe not today. Should I do it? Should I go ahead and add on the card scanner? Should I go ahead and add on what I'm able to print on the ink card? Should I go ahead and add on these other things people are talking about and get the financing through a different party, and hopefully sometime in the near future I can get paid for those additional services?
No.
I would say before get the. I don't know where you guys are in the conversation. Because you're who you are to me. I promise as many times as I can. I'll try to jump on. So I don't even know y'all aren't in the conversation. I just got off a conference call.
We
However,
just
just
started.
based on the question that you posed, my mind go to, once I understand what my options are, is it in line with my growth plan and opportunities to see what my return on investment will be, and so based on the features that, like you said, I may start off with a few services and can be able to upgrade. I'm sorry, they cleaning up in the building, so they passing my door if you hear noise. But to be able to grow in the future, just starting off, looking at how much each one of those upgrades will be and how long will it take me to recoup my investment. Then I have to think about how much am I going to charge, because my business model, my heart might say I only want to charge, a low amount, but to really accomplish my goals, can I afford to charge that amount in purchasing this equipment? So for me, I'm always thinking operationally and just trying to strategize before committing to something like that. And what does it look like?
Good point. Well, what would you take in consideration, and what does it look like? What factors would you take in consideration when you purchased you guys' equipment? Did you pay for everything up front, or did you wait and start adding things later on?
We initially started off with just a few of what the services that automatically came with the initial package, with the understanding of what growing looked like.
Okay. And do you
If that
recommend?
answers the question.
It does. And the question is about financing. If a person has just enough cash to pay for everything up front, should they use all their cash? Should they use a credit card? Should they get like a bank loan? Should they do like a third-party equipment leasing? what factors would you guys use to use one or the other? Say someone used a credit card. What would you take in consideration to use your credit card to pay it off in full versus using cash or a bank
It,
loan?
it, if I'm using a business credit card, that's one thing. But to go in, am I using my personal? Because now I'm finna think about what's my utilization and how it's gonna affect my credit score, right? Based on my credit limit. So that would dictate which one of those two I use.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a loan from my bank. You know, what's the interest rate and is it worth it? So you have to understand the different funding options, and see where you fall into those options to see which one is going to be the best for you.
So it sounds like what you guys are sharing with us is don't get too emotional with certain things. Step back and look at the whole picture and see what's best for you. And you also mentioned about a business card versus your own personal credit card and the
Yes.
credit utilization. Because if you're trying to start a business and trying to grow your credit at the same time, you may not want to max out your credit card.
Right.
Because that might have a domino effect on everything else. Because some banks might see it as a risk all of a sudden. You just got a brand new credit card that's maxed out. Other banks might see the same thing and they might reduce your rates on they might reduce your, how should I put it, your access to credit line on the credit card at first. So I always want to make sure you guys know what's going on there. You just don't know. It's a lot of things to take into consideration. Just don't jump in on the bandwagon, not knowing what to expect right away. It's very, it's serious. It really is.
Yeah.
And as for using a bank loan, if it makes business sense where it helps you grow your credit worthiness with your business and or your personal, and it's not going and it helps you with your business model in the long run, it's a good thing you might want to take in consideration. You don't want to just jump in not prepared. Do your homework first and be prepared. That's the best way I could say. Just be prepared and go from there. Yep.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
I
from
think
there.
it's still
And I want to apologize because it's the end of the day. And so, of course, my team is reaching out to me and everybody's calling saying, so I had to let them know, hey, I'm on a live. So I may not be able to stay on the whole time, but I wanted to keep my promise to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Carey, you about to say something too?
I still think to answer another part of the question would be you was asking about for is leasing a scanner. I still don't see that would be a great business startup way to start a business by leasing the equipment. Due to the fact of it is, like I say, a third party is going to be the one to actually be classified as the owner of that equipment, and not
Yep.
yourself. Not yourself, in which we talked about it earlier, which can put you in a little bit of a bind because when you like here in the state of Florida, when we register our equipment, it's registered under all each company and then the individual's name. So if I'm not the owner, by law, I should not be allowed to register that piece of equipment because I'm the one who's going to be making the decision pertaining to that equipment. And if I'm tied into a lease with a third party, then the third party can come and call me tomorrow and say, well, listen, you know what? I think I want my scanner.
That part.
You have an issue that you got to deal with then because obviously you're going to have to give it up because you're not the owner of it and you've already pre-registered this thing with FDLE here in Florida, which is going to create another problem. You don't know what you're going to have to do with them for terminate that scanner and then see how long if you can get another scanner and what are the process is going through of having that new scanner re-registered upon your name because they're going to want to know, well, why did you register it and you was not the truthful owner of that scanner?
Yeah.
So I don't say it's just like leasing a car. It's not just I don't think it's a good business deal to lease any major equipment like that you're going to be using on a daily basis. There's other opportunities for you to go out, or it's either with a business credit card or either some type of small startup fee or, taking out a personal business loan or something like that so that you maintain all ownership of all your equipment.
That makes sense. I think people should be more aware of what financing is. It's like, credit card, cash, business loans, personal loans, equipment leasing, third-party financing. There's different ones out there, but they may not realize the repercussion down the line or there are things inside the contract. If you use a third party sometimes for financing, like the equipment leasing, where case may be, they may want you to have warranty on your products to begin with, which is going to cost you more money on that lease payment. They also may require you to have some type of insurance, business insurance, which also going to increase your cost also.
Yeah.
So sometimes that might be the best thing you might want to do. Just look into it.
Yeah,
I
but
think
what
if you have enough to pay off with a credit card, get some points from it there, personal or business, look at the pros and cons in both. But you're able to pay off in a very fast manner, that might be a smart decision. You have protection because it's not cash right away. So
exactly.
if you have the cash and you know the product, you know the vendor who you're working with, you got enough to cover that cash in your business model, and it makes good business sense, then go with it. Just go ahead and go with it, but just always do your homework to make sure it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, give us a call. Become a member and discuss some options. Check with a professional person in that field of financing. Your tax preparer. You might want to get someone to look at your contracts when you do some type of third-party financing, some type of legal profession. Just don't jump in head first because you want to do LiveScan so bad. You want to sign anything just to get it, because sometimes it can cost you way more in the long run or in a short period of time. Usually within a year, it almost fees you paying on the back end first before even paying on the equity or the value of the machine.
Yeah.
There are some contracts where you're going to pay off all the fees first, then you pay off how much you really owe on the machine.
Yes.
All depends on how it's written. Or you might have a contract where, okay, I'm going to pay this off in 3 years with the third-party financing, and they're going to stick in all these fees, and the next day you want to loan, you want to pay it off in cash. They're going to say, okay, you can pay it off, but you shouldn't pay us our fees for the next 3 years anyway. Because you didn't read the contract that well, or you're trying to negotiate better rates, you're going to get stuck with it. Just always be careful. Now, if I won $1 billion, I won't be worried about that machine. I might just buy out the financial company myself. Let's keep that for the real. But just read the contract and go from there. And then look at your terms and conditions. Look at what's on the equipment contract leasing. Look at what's on your invoice when you're going to purchase this machine. Look at all this information. And there might be some situations in certain states may not allow you as a third-party financier if they're going to say they own full rights to that machine, because certain states say who owns that machine might have to get vetted by that particular government entity.
Yes.
So there might be a silent partner for this thing over here, but certain states, hey, they still may need to have a state certification from us because they own that machine with you. So do your homework, check the government entity for that particular state, if you could transfer it to your state, and just be careful. We could go all day long about these subjects here. Just even our leaders spend off on credit stuff like that. Like, no, she's right about that for sure. Just be careful. Makes good sense for you. Well, Maoumba, what's your thoughts on this? I know we kind of stepped over you a couple of times, and we
Yeah.
apologize for that. But
mean-
it's Travis' fault because he's not here right now.
Now, the one thing I would say, because if you buy for the third party, let's say they turn it off the machine, you screwed up. So you don't want to buy for the third party, because just in case they turn on the device and the device is not under your name, so it's better to own it, like Carey mentioned earlier, previously. It's better that you own the machine versus get it from the third party, because that's not guaranteed this is yours. Because something happened with the update, new system, you want to grow your business, you don't really own the machine, and then on top of that, if you do a financial, the more money you spend to pay off the third party, the fees, you have to worry about the fees and all that stuff. So I don't think it'll be a good route to go it through.
There's one thing we didn't talk about, another option you might want to consider about financing your machine to a vendor when you're about to purchase it. And what is that? This is something all you guys should be aware of anyway, because all you guys probably did the same thing or came close to doing it. When they want to sell you the machine, did you ever think about asking, hey, can I put down a certain percentage now and the remaining balance in such and such a date? Because sometimes the vendors may allow you to make a 50% deposit first, and then they can start the work, and perhaps in 30 days they may allow you to pay off the balance, or pay off the balance before it's shipped out, or something like that there. So there's another option you might want to consider. You know, so if you have a good business model and you want to jump into it, you might want to seek other sources of cash to help cover it without you tying up your cash flow with this particular third-party vendor, or even using your own personal credit card, which might raise up your limits, something might decrease your limits, your availability, and hurt your credit score. So
Yes.
this things one think of, or perhaps bank of mom, bank of dad, bank of ex, bank of ex-wife, ex-husband, whatever the case may be, bank of kids, where it is. Talk to other folks and see if it's a good business decision and go from there. Because sometimes it'll make better sense just to ask for assistance temporarily to get you guys further ahead, but don't put everything in one basket. That's all I'm trying to say. Or perhaps use 50% of your cash now versus paying down $7,000. Maybe you might take $3,000 cash and rest on a credit card that you can pay off in 30 days
Yes.
or something like that. Just mix it around something. Give them some options. Just don't think they can offer you third-party financing. You sign a dotted line, you're good. I promise you, you're gonna pay a lot more money in the long run, and you're gonna stay busy staying broke, trying to pay off those fees because that money adds up.
It
And you
does.
don't need to purchase all these extra add-ons today. Make the money first. Do basic fingerprinting first. Do in-car fingerprinting first if you have to. Do LiveScan transmissions first. And if they like to do other stuff on your machine, add those on later on as the customers ask for it or as the business operation dictates for it. But just don't do it right away. It does not make sense. Carey tell you that too. It does not make business sense. Not at all.
At all.
Yep.
Another thing, when people start up and you apply for your EIN number and start getting all that information there, that's when you should start applying for your business credit cards as well. You know, then that way there, because eventually after you start getting that information together, you're gonna be needing to make purchases. That way there, you can strictly separate everything from your personal personal cards and your business card. You can set up your business account. You can set up your business bank account. You can set up everything that you're gonna primarily need financially for that business. You go ahead and set it up then when you receive your EIN number, and then
Okay.
that way eliminate you. It's just like all of my cards. When I receive my EIN number, I set up everything, my banking and everything. So therefore, when I started to pull my credit report for my business, it did not affect my credit score on my personal side because it was pulling it from my business. And that way there, like I said, it had no bearing effects at all on my current credit score. And,
Okay.
that's another way that people need to do. So that way there, if you do need to purchase a $7, $8, $9, $10,000 item, and then don't be afraid to use more than one credit card.
There you go. That makes sense also.
Use
Now,
more than one.
since we're on credit cards, I think if the government's going to charge you on your credit card, or you're going to make payments to the government off your credit card for their fees, from the transactions, from the government fees, use a card where you get points from it. You know, you got
Yes.
rewards cards, so I get points from there. Have them charge your credit card where they charge that $61.25 for Florida, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and get points from it. Just make sure you pay it off.
Yes.
Don't just wait till bill is due on your credit card tomorrow and try to pay off tomorrow. Pay off a few days ahead of time
Yeah.
and make sure you have availability on your card
Yeah.
all the time. Keep your score up. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty good. Is there anything else besides finance you guys might want to talk about here about purchasing a LiveScan device? Any particular one tip for you folks out there? Leave your comments below. But for those who's hosting right now, what one or two tips you'd like to share with the public about purchasing a LiveScan device besides financing?
Do your research. You have to make sure to do your research. Be educated, do your research. Don't just jump in. Be educated about what you're purchasing. If the vendor is, how to say, is certified to the state. You don't just jump in because everybody will having a live scan. Make sure you start from the beginning. Fingerprinting first. Learn the basics of how to do fingerprint before you jump to the live scan. Because I did not purchase the live scan right away. I took my classes, I took my knowledge, my skills to make sure I know what I'm doing before you can get the live scan. I know everybody won't get the live scan out there, but this is not the right. Start from the basic. Basic. Don't just jump the loop. Because getting a light scan for me, I will say, is more like you're graduating to the next level. It's like
It
you're
is.
getting your AA as an ink cards. You learn your skill for, to learn how to fingerprint through the ink card. That's your AA degree right there. Once you go through the course and you're ready to be, to open your business account, like you mentioned, Carey, get your ID number, make sure you have your business like insurance, make sure you set up your Dun Bradstreet.
Yep.
ID number won't give you the credit score, but Dun Bradstreet will allow you to establish your score through a different system, how to set up your business credit. And then once you have all the skills, then you can get yourself, the life skill. But don't just jump the hoop. You can learn A and B before you learn A and B first. So,
Understood. That makes sense. That really does. How about you, Carey?
One of the things that I think that everybody has to take into consideration, don't be afraid when you're starting your business. Don't feel that you have to have X amount of dollars in your bank account. Do not be afraid. If you take your time, like Mama said, and you get everything set up in a timely manner, you schedule, you separate everything, and you should use your business account and your business for your business. Set your credit cards up, set your banking up, make sure that you do your research. And when you got it, and you believe it or not, and when you're setting up your financials, you have to research them just like you do everything else.
True.
Every bank sounds the same, but every bank is different.
yep.
Because you got to make sure not only can you just get a debit card or a credit card, you want to make sure, okay, how am I going to receive payments? Do I want to receive my money? How much of a spending limit am I you gonna allow me to have? What type of interest rate you willing to charge me with your business credit card? What type of perks are you willing to offer me if I decide to use your institution? So research. You have to call all of them. You call Chase, you call Wells Fargo, you call Trusted, you call every one of them, because they're all going to offer you a sound like the world, but you don't do the research and do it carefully.
Yep.
You get a whole bunch of stuff you don't need and end up still in worse shape you were in the beginning. So, like Mama said,
Okay.
research. Same thing with your credit cards. Call American Express, call Visa, call MasterCard, and it's totally different because you let them know you're applying for a business account, not
That
a
makes
personal
sense.
account, a business account. And they got to transfer to you to a whole bunch of different departments, a whole bunch of different
Yes.
things. And if you don't know something, hey, ask. Explain it to me in a term that I can understand. I don't need all of your accounting degrees right now. I need for you to tell me this in a normal term where I can understand exactly what are you offering me and what is it going to cost me. So research.
Yeah.
Okay. then. Luther, for you, when you first guys start considering purchasing a LiveScan device, besides just the financial portion of it, what came to you guys' mind? What factors did you take in consideration in purchasing a LiveScan device?
You say me?
Yes, ma'am.
As I stated, one of the things I had to think about before we jumped into it, of course, now people and companies are trying to sell you on, if you don't have this live scan machine, ink card fingerprinting is old fashioned and is irrelevant, and you need to get this machine if you're going to do fingerprinting. Well, making sure through National LiveScan Association plug, that was a big fat lie. You cannot just get a machine and walk up to these places because your cousin or your sister or your friend works there. Even if they want to use you, sometimes there's reasons they cannot use your service. So don't get tangled up in the idea that this live scan machine, I got to do it right now, and feel rushed and pressured into making a decision before you're able to do the research and understand you having that machine could mean something totally different than another person owning that machine, and the resources and the network that they have access to. So that was something we had some idea of it because the association prepared us for those type of encounters. But of course, boots to the ground, really getting some insight on what that really looks like,
Mm-hmm.
kept us from being victims of getting caught up in the situation before we were ready. So
Yeah,
hopefully that
That is true.
answers.
Yeah.
that's true. Hmm.
This
I
is a
guess
very,
maybe about
very
purchasing a
good.
license advice, sometimes you need to look at where you're buying it, where you're buying it from, who you're buying it from.
Yeah.
What about customer service? Just because they have great customer service now until they get that paycheck from you, all of a sudden they go ghost. It'd be a different story then.
Yeah.
Or perhaps they might have great tech support, or they may not have great tech support, but they might have a good operating system. There's different things you take into consideration. But then again, if you're new to the industry, you're trying to figure out is this good operating system not just because they said it is, doesn't mean it's the best one out there for your business model. It might be too much what you need, or it might be just piss poor and it's not what you really need. You're barely getting in with the bare minimums. You wish you had more bells and whistles. So also need to take in consideration. You need to learn and see what's going on. Ask a lot of questions. If you don't know, ask them. If they feel like they don't want to talk to you, they're the wrong company for you. That's the best way to put it.
Sure.
And don't feel like being pressured to spend all this money, $15,000, $24,000, all these extra kits and add-ons and programs that you don't need right away. Maybe not at all. You
Yeah.
know,
I,
just be careful.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to make a point about what you said because so often we get tangled up into what we see everybody else is doing.
Or allegedly doing, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then being, I was told this lady said she sell dreams. Well, listen, I don't want to be asleep and listen, because that dream will turn into a nightmare, right? So so don't get tangled up into paying attention to what everybody else is doing or they all of these different promises, like you said, JW. If you haven't taken the time to really understand what does that service mean for you and your location and your clients, you sitting there with an expensive piece of equipment that you can't even really use, but you're paying money.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah.
You're trying to get a hold of them for support. Like, hello, who are you?
Yeah, and it's nothing worse than you just submitted or transmitted a FBI report or a departmental order or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
and that particular processor drops the ball. That customer calling you.
Yeah. I had to go back out and redo 2 of them.
So now you got to think about your reviews if you even gather them. We take reviews very seriously, and we have just crossed over 600. Okay, but
Congratulations.
5-star. Okay, so that reflects you because these people are coming. They trust you. So, but if you don't have confidence or the process or channel, whoever you're using, that vendor, you don't have confidence because there's been a few little weird encounters. Now you got to put another process in place just to ensure that your client is getting what they need because they're coming back to you
Mm-hmm.
because they paid you.
They paid you. Exactly right.
So to the point you were making, you just got to be careful about the customer service and you got to think about stuff like that.